Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today, I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the Northeast, ending with Team 2 in the Southwest. Starting off with Team 1, southernmost player in Chevy Crimson. It is Red Visimosis going first, land as a Seraphim. He is a 1700, the highest ranked player on Team 1, and tied for the highest rank overall. To his northeast, we have Toasty 4OK going first line as a UEF in Light Oak Tan. He is a 1400. Continuing on in the northward direction, we have Cups going first line as a Cybran. He is a 1400 in Stitch Blue. Possibly one of the rear guard slot players for Team 1 is Blazer O'Flasher going first line as an Aeon in Emerald Green. He is a 1500. And to his west, possibly the other rear guard slot here for Team 1 is Maverick going first line as a UEF in Ruby Red. He is a 1200. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have one of each of the factions plus an additional UEF, which means one Aeon, one Sayer from one Cybran, and two UEF for Team 1. Starting off with Team 2's possible one of their rear guard slot players is Noob Dragoon going first land as a Cybran. He is a 1200 in Royal Blue. To his west, the other possible rear guard slot player for Team 2, it is Just Q going first line as another Cybran here for Team 2. He is in Glow in the Dark Green. To his north, in Orange, the color orange, is XXXXX going first line secondary as a UEF. He is a 1400. Again, he is in Orange, the color orange. To his north, in Pac-Man Yellow, is the UEF player of RGB VCMG going first and second land. He is a 1300. And rounding out Team 2's roster here on the front lines here for Team 2, it is Nightly going first land, second land, third land all day. He is a Cybran, and he is a 1700, the highest ranked player on Team 2, and tied for the highest with Team 1's Red Visimosis for highest rank overall. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 3 Cybrans and 2 UEF, which means Team 2 lacks Seraphim and Aeon technology. And of course, as a reminder, Team 1 has one of each at a minimum of all of the factions represented. There is a left drone upgrade going down here for Toasty 4OK in his base. But before we go ahead and see where our players are up to this game, let's go ahead and see how much reclaim they have to scoop up. And for 10 players, they have a little bit over 10,000 mass to reclaim, which means it's just a little bit over 1,000 mass per player. And in terms of mass point layouts here for Team 2 side of the map, we'll take a look at cutting it down the middle. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 quad mechs positions for Team 2 to grab, as well as a twin mechs in the middle, and a couple of twin mechs, I guess, is over here and over here. But besides that, there's not enough high concentrated mass points for each player to have. So I kind of expect possibly one of the rear guard set players to either go for this upper plateau up here and grab that one, or even possibly this. But it does look like Nightly is going to grab not only this quad mechs position, but also this one as well. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and see where our players are up to. As noted, we do see Nightly moving northward to grab those mexes. We do see RGB moving eastward to grab these mexes as well. We could see Noob Dragoon actually moving all the way east and then west to grab this quad mex position over here for Team 1 side of the map. But I would not be surprised to see somebody on Team 1 get a transport and do either the exact same thing that I just mentioned on Team 2 side of the map, or try to go for this down here. It does look like Just Q is following Noob Dragoon's lead and moving eastward. We do see one of them going for this dual mechs here, and the other one going northward, possibly trying to deny this quad mechs expansion for Red Visimosis. And luckily, Red has gone for a red color in this game. There was a game, I think, a couple days ago, if not a week ago, where he was yellow, and I was calling him red, but he was yellow, and it was confusing me. And I know somebody in the comments for that video commented that it was confusing. Apologies. He just wanted to be yellow that game. Don't understand why. Makes calling him red kind of confusing. So apologies for that. But he is red. He's not Ruby Red. He's Chevy Crimson. But that is close enough to a red. Obviously, it is a red color, but it's not red like Ruby Red. We do see that it's going to be the first calm-on-calm action here. Speaking of Red Visimosis and Noob Dragoon here in the south, most likely going to be the first engagement of enemy, or it's not enemy, but 2 ACU commanders. That is the same thing, armor command unit. in the game. We do see a transport outbound from Blazer moving for this upper plateau. Looks like there is other transports moving in to establish a frontline facility over here. But there's 4 engineers versus, I think, only 3 on board. And if those engineers build that Team 1 land facility before those engineers from Team 2 come in and intercept, it might be enough. It does look like they're going to build some T1AA turrets. And those actual engineers are actually going to be shooed away. And they keep having some disagreements about what they want to go for. One wants to go for a mechs, one wants to go for land. Now they're going to go for a T1 PD to try to deny any sort of drops. Engineers do come and assist Noob Dragoon's commander, which will assist with establishing a frontline base over there. We do see that in the north, Team 1's Cups has now dropped engineers up here to grab this quad mechs position. So it does look like Team 1's going to grab the northern section of the map. Team 2 is going to grab the... Actually, no. Team 1 is going to grab the southern quad mechs position, but I wouldn't be surprised to see more engineers try to drop, or some units try to drop, or even the comm move to try to grab that quad mechs position. Lol, I'm here. Yellow should be where, says XXXXXX. I don't... Oh, he's talking about this position, maybe? I don't know. We do see that gun speed and range has been started for Nightly in the north. We do see Maverick and Blazer moving westward, exactly mirroring what Team 2's comms of Just Q and Noob Dragoon did. But I wouldn't be surprised to see both of these comms go directly to the western edge of the map and then move southward to engage Team 2's forces. But that does open Nightly to come in and try to either encircle those 2 comms or just go straight for somebody's base in the northeast. I don't think he's going to go that far in, but at least gain some territory in that direction. But it does look like Maverick is going to stop for the time being with RGB coming in to assist. Looks like it's going to be 2v2 here in the north, with units fighting over here in the north between Cups and Nightly. In the middle, looks like it's going to be 1v1, and comm-on-comm action has occurred between Noob Dragoon and Red. Red focusing on the Team 1 land factories, and Noob obviously focusing on Red's comm. We do see a couple of Thams coming in to intercept. Looks like they're trying to make a wide berth around the commander to allow them to try to encircle them. But Team 2's Just Q coming in around to assist as well. So hook maneuvers on hook maneuvers here between both of these teams. We do see a couple of T1 labs on board that LAT, or Light Air Transport. It's not an LAAT. That would be from Star Wars, the gunship from the Clone Wars. But Ghetto Gunship is online and gets shot down immediately by Team 2. Actually, by Team 2's air. Yeah, I was going to say how to get shot down, but that was Team 2. And Red is dropping into the yellow, and Noob is dropping into the yellow as well. But again, 11500 hit points, or 11,500 hit points versus the 10,000 hit points aboard Noob Dragoon. 5,800 versus 3,500. So even if Noob Dragoon does die, he might clip Red. Units coming in to try to take out Just Q's commander as well. Noob Dragoon has fallen into the Red, sub 2,500 hit points. Just Q now being the main target of Red's overcharges, trying to reduce his hit points at the same time. It might be a murder-suicide or a double murder-suicide situation going down. Red trying to just not shoot Noob, trying to focus on Q to drop his hit points as well. Red has fallen into the Red now, sub 2,500 hit points. And Control Case killed 2 commanders with the explosion. That was a great move by Red. He got a 2-4-1 there, dropping this game to a 4v3. I figured that's what he was trying to do. Could have killed without both dying, said Just Q. But with the explosion of Noob Dragoon, that triggered the explosion for Red's comm, which also bled into what was that? Just Q's comm, which was a boom, boom, boom. That was a triple kill here. A double murder-suicide here for Team 1's Red Vismoses. And that is now, again, like I said, a 4v3 in favor of Team 1. We see in the north, Blazer Flasher being blitzed down by those forces outbound from Nightly. Maverick has gotten out of dodge. Sub 300 hit points, probably a little bit less than that. Obviously, before I came over to cast this, lots of comms either close to dying or have died so far. Team 1 bombers over the top trying to force back Nightly's commander. And this game has blown wide open quite literally. It's now no comms in the southern edge of the map here for either team. The only comms available are in the middle, actually middle and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 of them. All of the comms are on the northern half of the map. with Nightly falling into the red, sub 500 hit points. Couple of bombs will kill off Nightly's commander, dropping this game to a 4v2. Bombers trying to get him. He's trying to bob and weave, bob and weave, bob and weave, but there are so many bombers over top. Interceptors are inbound. Nightly below 200 hit points. Fire just all around that commander. He needs to get out of dodge, but he's trying to dodge. He's trying to get out of dodge, but he's trying to dodge as much as he can. Bombers cannot seem to hit that commander. Sub 200 still. We do see those interceptors coming in to save the commander Nightly, but one bomber comes in and kills off Nightly's commander, and it is now a 4v2 in this game. We started with 10 players. We're now down to 6, which means we've lost 40% of the player base in less than 10 minutes. That is a lot of players to lose, especially for Team 2. It's definitely going to be an uphill battle here for Team 2 to fight back, but again, that does dump a lot of mass, specifically in 6X's base, but he might shift RGBs, or might shift some units and structures over to him just to help with his eco as well, balance things out a little bit more. We do see a decent amount of units outbound for RGB trying to assault the main base for Maverick. I don't think they'll get pretty far forward. He does stop them right here, and with that, those are not going anywhere, especially with some flanking units outbound from Tolsty. We do see some units also outbound for XXXXXX moving in to intercept any sort of reinforcements. And those units are going to still to push in. There is a T1 PD, so I don't think there's anything that's going to happen here with those forces. And man, lots of things happen very, very quickly. We have 2 comms for Team 1 hiding in the water. Maverick going for T2 to rep up some more hit points, and Blazer or Flasher hiding in the water as well to cool off. And of course, just kind of take the game a little bit slower. Lots of stuff has happened. We see a couple of units outbound for him as well, going after some structures here for Team 2's XXXXX, going after some P-gens. Those are volatile. They're not as volatile as T2 or T3 P-gens, but they are volatile a little bit. Got a little bit of a cascade. Not a lot, just a tiny smidgen. It does eat away at the power a little bit, but he's doing fine. Plus 2,000. Yeah, he can lose a couple of T1 P-gens. And it looks like RGB's having a little bit of issues with his power. It looks like he's sorted that now. And it's going to be a little bit of a lull period as all of these players, including the ones on Team 1, kind of refocus, figure out what the heck's going on. Especially for those on Team 2 where more than half your players are dead. So that's not helpful for Team 2, but they will persevere in this game. They won't quit just yet. We do see that Team 1 is pumping out a lot of units, both in T1 and T2 variety. We see a couple of those Ilshis. They are Ilshis outbound for Blazer, moving into the south, going after a lot of Team 1 spam, which XXX is just throwing to halt the progression of Team 1's forces. We do see a drop outbound also from Blazer, does make it onto the plateau and does establish a nice little foothold here, which he can then use to throw artillery shells over the cliff edge. I don't see anything else as of note so far. We do see the comms of both RGB and Tolsty nearby. RGB is actually further to the east than Tolsty is, which means he could easily be outflanked. We have some units here for RGB coming in from the south, and obviously the comm coming in from the north with a gun comm. We see Tolsty does also have gun. He's almost at 1-star veterancy. RGB is also almost at 1-star veterancy. And it's UEF v UEF, which means there's no hit point differential here. And RGB could overcharge a couple of these strikers and get 1-star veterancy to try to survive some more damage. But again, looks like he is doing that, trying to survive. I don't blame him. I mean, especially with his team possibly being... Where was that overcharge going? He went for the engineer, not for the comm. The comm does grab 1-star veterancy, 10% more hit points on board that commander, and a little bit more regen. Tolsty again sitting at a nice 10,000 versus RGB's 5,000 and falling. We do see more units starting to encircle Tolsty. This might be a murder-suicide situation here. Team 1 might just be playing the sacrifice play to take out Team 2's remaining comms. RGB does fall, like I said, into the yellow. There are some pillars nearby as well, but there's also some pillars nearby for RGB as well. If RGB falls to 2,500, Tolsty might just control K to kill off the comm. And he is falling pretty far below 6,000 hit points. He does have some more units coming in to assist. And he's trying to do his best to get out of dodge. More reinforcements also coming in from Cups to assist, but most of those forces have been destroyed here for RGB. Toasty is dropping into the red. Sub 25, sub 24, sub 2,000. RGB's below. There it goes. It is a murder-suicide situation here in this game. Barely in range here for RGB's explosion. And is now a 3v1. 60% of the players are dead before 15 minutes. It is now XXXXXXX versus Blazer, Cups, and Maverick on Team 1. Which, again, the benefit is all of the mass income is going straight to one player's coffers. The downside is he has a lot to manage. It's not a 20 by 20. I can't see the top border of the game, but it's probably pretty close to about a 13 to 14. T3 Air is online for Team 1's Blazer. T2 also online here for a couple of other players for both Cups and Maverick. Team 2 does have T3 Air as well. We could just do an assassination game go on. All it will take is for one army, one comm, one something to just blitz down a XXXXX commander, and that is the game won for Team 1. So Team 2's last sole survivor needs to be aware of that at all times. We do see some units starting to encircle Maverick's commander. He does have T2 and gun on board. Going after some of those pillars. Probably will get some veterancy from those kills. But there are some Mongeese chasing that commander. Commander is losing hit points, not super quickly, but is enough to be a little bit worrisome. The Mongeese do have some range on him, but of course they don't really have hit points, and as shown by a couple of shots, and that is going to be it. Maverick gets a rank in veterancy, and he will be fine. No issues with losing that commander for Team 1. We will probably drop to probably 8,000, but there's really no problem with that. More units moving in to cut off reinforcements and just force their way forward here for XXX. He's trying to just shove everything into the breach and trying to stir up the pot here and trying to give him some enough time to build something up. He is sitting at 250 mass income versus Team 1's 315, and that's obviously mainly due to the fact that there's mexes down in the north and in the south, and Team 1 has more of map control. But as, of course, Team 2's last remaining player of XXXXX builds up his T3 mexes, that difference should fix itself right quick. Blazer's the only one really competing with him in the mass game. Cups and Maverick sitting about 50 mass income per the both of them. So it's really going to be Blazer versus XXX for a little bit while those other two players on Team 1 build up egos. But a couple of rhinos making into the base, a couple of veterancy going down for those rhinos, going after some P-gens. And a little bit damaging here for Blazer, but he is sitting at a decent amount of power income, so those losses in P-gens should be perfectly fine. But more units coming in all the time. We do see Cups going for a gun upgrade. Looks like it's a gun upgrade. I would assume it's not a torpedo upgrade. That'd be a little silly, especially with there being a tiny bit of water in this game. We do see that plateau being very useful and just not being used to the fullest extent, but there are no... Oh, there's a couple of artillery. They could sit right here. You could probably take out... I know I'm probably being distracted by something else, but they probably could take out at least these two air factories. Not that they're really doing a whole lot, but, taking out something's better than nothing. I don't see any experimentals yet here for Team 2, neither anything for Team 1. It's a little bit early, I guess, but of course... 6X is sitting at 250 mass, so he could probably start thinking about that, but he has a lot of units running around the map. Lots of T2s. We even see some T3 Titans as well. And we see some rocket bots, so definitely fast-moving units here for Team 2 once they're trying to exploit essentially the middle of the map being kind of devoid of mexes. Couple of mexes in the middle, but not by much. ASFs come in and try to assist the units on the ground. They're going after the T3 land headquarters for the Seraphim variety for Blazer, but there is an Otham online, and that's not going to go anywhere. So, unfortunately here for Triple X, it doesn't really net the kill that he wanted, but Maverick is nearby here for a couple being a decent amount of pillars. Mongeese as well moving in to kill a couple of incoming reinforcements. Triple X looks, 6X is just continuing to push his units in. Looks like he's going to push them northward now. If he had Seraphim tech, he'd probably go for Ilshis. Ilshis are one of the best units in T2, in my opinion. They're essentially T2.5 units, but bombers raining over the top here constantly. This group of units is not going to be enough to kill that comm, especially with them not focusing on the comm itself. But Cup's moving in to try to cut off any sort of reinforcements for this base up here to the north that's producing a decent amount of mongies and pillars. I would like to see some flak outbound here for him, but again, he has a lot to manage, so I don't blame him for kind of, you know, missing things here and there. But he is doing a decent job of clearing out Blazer's facilities down south. Lots of T2 mechs is going down. Each one of those is 6 mass income. Trying to drop the income here for Team 1 overall, but specifically Blazer. Trying to make sure that I want to say triple X, but 6X, of course, is the highest producing mass player in the game. Air grid is being expanded out here for him. No monkeys or fat boys. I think you should go for monkeys first and maybe just blitz down fat boys for some nice, of course, long range artillery fire. Restorers coming in trying to take out the rhinos. Don't do a lot of damage to ground units versus other T3 gunships, but again, something's better than nothing. We see some renegades coming in. Don't really see these a lot. You usually see those jesters, the T1s, or the whalers. You don't really see the renegades, but you know, they do exist. Lots of T2 units inbound for Cups' base. That is not looking good here. We see some Titans as well in the mix. T3 and T2 units moving in. Actually it was a T3 upgrade, has been canceled. And those units moving in on the east, those units moving in from the south. Shield is down, moving into the base, trying to build some T1 PD as quickly as he can. Those units are going to just roll on into his base. Cups is not the main target of priority yet, but he might be here pretty shortly. Restorers trying to fly over top. There's a lot of rhinos. There's a decent amount of Titans in there. I think the Titans have already been dealt with, I guess. A couple of offensive to the west. Rocket bots as well. Looks like the comm might be pinged here by Team 1 or Team 2. Possibly both of them, if not just one of them. Bombers over top trying to clear out those rhinos. This base for Cups has been destroyed. But unfortunately, I don't think Cups is going to die. I mean, there are a lot of rhinos, but he's sitting at 1-star veterancy. He's sitting at T2 tech. So he's going to have a little bit more extra hit points on board that commander. But, no, there are more units coming in from the north. This might be a kill on Cups. Cups is losing hit points very rapidly here. 2-star veterancy on board that commander. And if Cups is focused down, this might be another kill here for Team 2, dropping it to a 2v1. He has a little bit of a hill to hide behind, but more units move around the hill to deal with that sort of, not geological, but geographical obstacle. And there he goes. He's dropping below 750, 400, 300. There he goes. And that is another kill here for Team 2, dropping this game to a 2v1. Still in favor of Team 1, but at 21 minutes, 70% of the players have been killed. And at this point in the game, let's go ahead and take a look at the game overall. As stated, there's only 2 survivors for Team 1, Blazer and Maverick, versus XXXXX or 6X here for Team 2, the orange player, remaining the sole survivor of Team 2. All the other accolades and titles for him. Mass incomes, Team 1 sitting at 430, Team 2 at 250. So Team 1 is winning the game by pretty close to 200 mass per second. But Team 2's 6X is pumping out T2 and T3 units. So the land game definitely is favoring Team 2, as you just saw with the death of Cups. In terms of map control, it's definitely fluid. It's kind of hard to tell who has what. We do see a decent amount of units going to take out this base over here. So realistically, I'd say just 50-50 and flip a coin, and whoever, heads or tails, somebody's in the lead. But it's kind of hard to really tell at this point. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. And of course, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching. And as always, I really do appreciate it. Every single moment, every single thing you do for the channel, I really do appreciate liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, everything. I really do appreciate it. And of course, submitting replays at my Gmail account, strategiclaunchreplays@gmail.com. It's also listed in the comments of every video, and I think it's also on my channel as well. So if you have a replay that you want me to take a look at, I will do so. I check the email at least once or twice a week just to see if there's any updates in it. Sometimes I get 3 or 4 replays in a week. Sometimes I get 1, so it just depends on the week and what's going on and whatnot. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and see what this T3 army is doing here for XXXXXXXXX. That's too many X's. We do see a decent amount of Perseus being augmenting this force of mainly Titans. He's using rapid deploying units that move very quickly to traverse the map. Again, there's a lot of just, not dead zone, but no man's land, just because there's nothing there. I mean, here's a base right here, and he's walked all the way over here to the other side of the map. It's going to take a while. Team 1 is definitely going to be on the defensive. They've noticed that 6X is being very, offenses is really pumping out units quickly. If Team 1 keeps up this strategy, they probably will win. Making a prediction just because the mass will land on their side of the map constantly. Unless 6X can just pump through or just like shove through those bases very quickly. You can see the Utashalas being very effective in dealing with the Titans, but once the Perseus come into the mix, those PD emplacements aren't going to last very long, especially with more and more Titans coming into range. I do love that he's augmented his forces with AA, dealing with the Restorers that are inbound. The Restorers are not known for their air-to-ground weaponry, so those bangers have enough time to try to chew through the 6,000 hit points on board said Restorers. And that PD lineup has definitely been ripped to shreds, especially with the Perseus coming in to finish it off. They're probably going to go for the T3 land headquarters that 6X tried to go for earlier. ASFs are being pumped up by him as well. So he's doing a very good job of trying to at least curtail Team 1's air. It's going to take him a little bit because Team 1 is in the lead for air control. But he's really pumping out both land units and air units. They're trying to fight that. He's not focusing as much on his eco income. That's what Team 1 is doing. If Team 1, I think what they're thinking, or at least somebody's thinking, is if I can build enough mass income, I can pump up enough units and structures to just force Team 2 or the remainder of Team 2 back. But this base that once belonged to, I think that was Red. I think Red was the one that killed off Cups, not Cups, but Tolsty and Tolsty's on Team 1. Killed off Noob, Dragoon, and Q. That's who it was. Those Titans are inbound going for the T3 land headquarters. So the Seraphim 1 is down. The UEF 1 is down. T3 land is going to be built here by Blazer in the north. T3 air has already been constructed, obviously, by him. T3 land for UEF already is online for Maverick, and he's pumping out some of those spearheads. Very effective at dealing with targets that are not moving, but especially with this land army that's mainly, it's moving real quick. I mean, those Titans are really pushing in. Lots of mass is being lost per second for Blazer. Of course, the Titans focusing on the structures to deal with any sort of reinforcing units in the area, and the Perseus dealing with the higher HP structures of the mixes and all that. This unit group is still moving. T1 PDs and T2 trying to be built up as quickly as they can be. We, of course, see that 6666 is moving on the eastern edge, trying to avoid all of the firing lines that are being built. But now we see some units outbound for Maverick to try to plug this whole transport. Going to absorb a couple of shots from those Perseus. Perseus are receiving a decent amount of firepower from these Oblivions, but they're ripping through those T1 PD emplacements very quickly. Titans still making it in. Blazer coming in with his advanced range commander, trying to slow down this roll of XXXXX. He's doing a very good job. And another force is outbound coming in as well. So while he's attacking on the eastern edge, another force is coming in. He is just throwing all the units he can. It looks like that's about it for now. Once this group of forces has reached and been destroyed, looks like 6X is dealing with other issues. Going after the air grid up here in the north, the Titans made it very, very far. Killed up a couple of NGs and PGens. Will not destroy the entire air grid, but at least some of it. And it looks like this army going to move in. I think Maverick should be fine. There's a decent amount of Perseus that have been built up to deal with the incoming threat of those Titans and other Perseus. But this group of Perseus, Blazer actually control Ks. GG says Cups. I mean, you could just say GG at any point, but that is now going to be a 1v1 death match here between Maverick, the sole survivor of Team 1, and 6X or XXXXXXX for Team 2. And mass is being ripped apart. T3 land headquarters is being ripped apart. It is turned from a 5v5 to a 1v1 in less than 27 minutes. Very quick match here so far, but I do know that the game goes on for about 50 or so minutes, so we got a little bit more time to see who does end up winning this game. And at this point, I'm just going to say it right now, both of these remaining players have done great, especially 6X having to deal with, again, the loss of everyone else on his team. Maverick about to, again, deal with that exact same thing. We do see that 6X is sitting a little bit better just due to the entire loss of 1, 2, 3, 4 bases here for Team 1. T3 Pigeons are being prioritied by those remaining Mongeese and Perseus. Looks like most of that land army has been dealt with. But this is a huge loss here for Team 1, putting the mass income at 250 versus 300. I think I'm going to speed things up just a little bit, because this is going to be the point in the game where at least Maverick at a minimum is going to just try to build back what he can. More roaming bands of units here to the west. 6X has done a great job. If he wins this game, obviously MVP. If Maverick wins this game, obviously MVP. When you're the sole survivor at this early in the game, it's almost default that they become MVP. But there is an argument to be made that if Maverick does win, Red deserves at least a decent amount of credit because he took out 2 of the players on Team 2 with that opening move. So definitely is some arguments to be made in that regard, but I'm not making my predictions on who's going to win this game one way or the other. I will let all of you decide. It looks like the attack finally has been curtailed by Maverick. At least in the east, he does have to deal with this group of forces in the west. I think I'll speed it up to 2, I think, at this point. Large group of T1 Lobos on the northern side of the map building up over here. Looks like they're going to try to raid this base. There's not really a lot here. The couple of T1 PD, but there is a decent amount of T3 structures building up. Just solely Percy's, it looks like, for the time being. Just, again, just augment the land force. Looks like the land force might be just building up on the edge of the PD lineup. But lots of PD are being built, and these are Ravagers now, so those long-range cannons trying to go after the Percys. The Percys will engage. We do see some Cougars in the mix, some T3AA mobile units, and Team 2's 6X is not letting up the pressure. He's going to just constantly shove it forward in Maverick's face. He's not letting him rest at all. Percy's coming in, taking out those PD lines. We see some Triads as well being built up a little bit cheaper, a little bit shorter range, but again, very powerful units and structures as well. Secondary line also being built. Those Percys need to move just ever so slightly a little bit more north to deal with that last remaining Ravager. But this is a great, great thing. He's really opening up the doors for a land incursion either in the west or in the east, constantly keeping his opponent at, not on at bay, but at, on their toes. Essentially, maybe he's going to attack this way. Maybe I'm trying to fake it and go this way. Maybe he's faking going this way, trying to play psychology games, essentially, with what side of the map is he going to attack me on. But maybe he'll attack me via air, so he's just, Maverick's going to try to do as much as he can to re-expand out and try to defend. The mass income's definitely about the same here for both of these players. The energy income is fine for both of them, so that is the actual values. But definitely a different kind of game. It went for, again, a team game, a 5v5 to a 1v1 very, very quickly. Transports outbound, going to try to cut down the travel time here for his units. Very, very effective in doing that, especially if you can get them over there without incurring some losses. Couple of Mantis over here for the west going after some T1 P-Gens. They probably could be going after those Mexes over here, but again, they're doing some damage, and something's better than nothing. But when your opponent is also sitting at 7,000 positive power income, it's not really a whole lot to lose. Was it 25 or is it 20? It's 20 per P-Gen. Looks like all those forces are grouping up over here. Maverick going to gear up for another attack. Lots of reclaim on the map. Currently sitting on the map. We started with 10,000, sitting at 157,000. Most of it obviously on Team 1 side of the map due to the large number of T3 units and just everything that was destroyed on Team 1 side of the map. We do see some counterattacks happening in the south there with some Ophims. The remaining Seraphim forces that Maverick had. I don't see any. That's an Aeon. That is a Seraphim engineer, so he does still have Seraphim tech. That is one way to eliminate your options for your opponent. It's not really focused down. It just possibly is mostly just a happenstance. But if you kill off all the engineers and all the structures of one faction, they don't have access to that faction anymore unless they are that faction. So in this case, he'll always have access to UEF tech. But if he loses all the engineers and the Aeon structures, he'll lose access to that. He still has, I think he still has a chance for Cybran tech, but I don't see any of those engineers, the ones with the wheels. I don't see any of them right now. Well, I saw some Mantis over here, but those could have just been remnants from a bygone era, not error. We're seeing large groups of Percys moving into groups of Percys here from Team 1 and Team 2. Maverick versus SSX fighting over the old base. I think that was Tolsty's base, was this one right here. And Maverick is retreating. That's a lot of Percys moving in. Lots of Titans as well. Lots of cannon fodder. And lots of hit points to shoot through. Again, those Percys are not letting up, really just hammering down the ones from Team 1. We see some T3 mobile missile platforms launching out some missiles, but of course they're trying to target ground units that are moving. Not the best case scenario. And those Titans clearing the way for the Percys to move in and kill off the Percys from Maverick. You can see just multiple shots just landing constantly against those Percys. And don't count out the Titans, though. They can blitz down some units, but of course they have less amount of hit points, especially the shield. And when you're sitting at 7,200 base, it is a lot. We do see the T4 Colossus on the line, moving in to intercept those Percys, the one-arm bandits, you can kind of call them, because they have one giant arm and the other arm's kind of just there. And one Percy gets grabbed, being sucked up by those vacuum arms. The other one in the arm. Percys now redirect most of their fire onto the Colossus. Colossus should be fine. Second one going to be built here pretty shortly, though. It's on its knee, so it's a decent way. I think it's in the yellow. Oh, no, that one's just started. Weird that they start in different positions, though. Weird. Anyway. Percy's trying to take out that Colossus. They won't. They just don't have the numbers. Decent amount of mass will fall on Team Maverick's side of the map. Turn all my things on. There we go. Groups of units sitting over here in the west. I'll speed it back up once again to kind of slow down. More units building up here. It looks like they're building up on this plateau up here. But again, it is a 1v1. It is going to turn into an assassination game here pretty shortly. I mean, it already has, technically, because it's defaulted to a 1v1. That is kind of the thing. There is still a base down here for Maverick. He has a radar system and a decent amount of T1 spam, but again, they're isolated on this plateau. They can't really get down there. There's no transport. They'd have to get a transport down there. Then they'd have to ferry them down there, and that's kind of a tall order with, again, Team 2 right here. 6 Percys, I guess, is what that means. Yep, 6 Percys and a couple of Cougars. I think that's what that means in Russian, is Percy or Percival or unit or something. Colossus is moving in. There's a couple of Percys and bricks now being augmented. I do like the splitting up of technology. You have one unit that's very good at, again, dealing with a lot of lower HP units, and then you have the unit designed for high HP units, especially being the other Percys and Galactic Colossus. ASF sitting here for Team 2's SSSSXX, or I should just say Team SSSSXX, or just Team Red versus Team Orange at this point. There's a lot of words or names I could use for both of these teams. Possibly that's Reclaim? Possibly? Don't know what I am trying to like decipher based on what he's getting a picture of what that is. But a couple of bricks and Percys on this plateau. Nice little ambush opportunity. Colossus goes, oh yeah, I'm tall enough to ride the ride there, sir. I'm just going to laser you from down here. Those look like all of those units actually move around and intercept those Percys. Colossus is going to continue moving forward, confident in his unit's ability to deal with that large group of Titans and Percys and bricks moving up, moving in to intercept that Colossus. Colossus is all by, it's lonesome, and he goes, I should probably get with my friends. Last of those bricks and Percys has been dealt with, and those units are being pulled forward. The benefit of this is it allows Maverick to catch up to his forces, regroup, and deal with this large group of units here from SSSSX. And we see some Percys down here just being annoying here against Maverick. In comes here Team 1, or Red Team and Orange Team, sitting at about the same income, 400 to 400. So there's really no advantage one way or the other, besides just what they're spending it on. Large groups of transports being built. And Nuke, oh, Nuke has been built up here for SSSSX. Do you have an SMD? No, but you're going for satellites. So both of them trying to end the game as soon as possible. Once Maverick sees that, that's going to be it. And once that nuke gets launched, it's probably going to be launching immediately. And it's pretty close to being loaded. I'd say about in less than a minute it should be loaded. The units moving in to the south, intercepting that group of units. Colossus has actually just been ignored. Second one is now done, fully healed, 99,999 hit points. And it's just going to be Colossus all day. It looks like Maverick's going to try to stave off SXXXX's incoming land forces with Colossi, which is a good unit, to be fair. That defense satellite might see that nuke. The nuke needs to load immediately. The satellite shield is going to be built. Looks like he's noticed the satellite. If he hasn't, he does now. with the laser coming in over the top. And Nuke has almost been loaded. It's very, very close. Does Team 2 see it? And sorry, Team 1 see it in time? He's building his second Novak's. Actually, already half done with that one. That is going to hurt once it lands. Colossus coming in from the side, ambushing this group of Percys and Bricks and a couple of Rhinos, because why not? And it pings going down, possibly by Team 2's teammates saying, hey, there's a thing here. And the nuke will launch. It's going after the Novaxes. That's going to hurt. Looks like he actually stops the spending. Love to see that he stops the expenditures on the Novax that he knows is going to die, and probably will build an SMD here. Going to get out of range of that nuke, though. And that satellite is going to fall. He knows about the nuke, obviously, due to the announcement, and because he can physically see it with the Omni sensor and everything else on the defense satellite. ASF count still favors SSSXX, so he's leading the air game quite significantly. That nuke sailing overhead. There it is. It is inbound. Gets pinged by somebody on Team 1, and there goes. Boom! Kills the satellite as it's about to just move out of the way. And there goes that investment in long range air quotes firepower in the Novax satellite department. Colossus tries to break through the wall, gets denied by a different kind of wall, being the mobile brick wall of Team 2's SSSXX, and that Colossus probably will die. It takes a while to chew through bricks, and it will, I mean, it possibly might get to, oh, no, it doesn't. It's going to get to 2-star veteran. See, that brick got a nice little ride being vacuumed over there, and then gets crushed by the Colossus anyways. I love how there's just one T1 Mechs over here just hanging out. This one is, looks like it was probably captured. It was possibly captured, actually, which is very entertaining to watch. Capturing is one of those features that you really don't see in Forged Alliance Forever anymore, just because it's really hard to do, and it just takes so long to capture significant targets. Like a T3 Mechs takes forever, and units especially units that can fire back at you, forget it. It's essentially one of those features that really only exists in the campaign, which I've been meaning to put out. At the time of the video, it probably will already be released on the channel, but I'm going to put out a poll, if I haven't done so already, on whether or not I should play the campaign of Supreme Commander / Forged Alliance. And hopefully everybody votes in that, lets me know one way or the other. I don't know if it would be entertaining or not, but I mean, it's been a very long time since I've played it, so I might just play it, you know, off screen. But I don't know, maybe it would be something for everybody to watch. I don't know. I really don't know, and that's why I'm putting it to each and every one of you. And if the post is up, please vote. I really do appreciate it, and I probably won't end it as your term of this recording, the end of tomorrow, which would be, I think this video goes out on Saturday. Friday. So it will end at the end of the day, Saturday. That's when, Saturday the 22nd, I think is what it is. Just to give you an idea of when I'm going to end the poll. 40,000 mass equals 2 GCs. That is true. Lots of mass on the field. We saw 100 and something thousand, and we're sitting at 176,000. How's that second nuke loading, though? It is half loaded. How's the SMD loading here for Team 1? Team 1 just built the SMD. It's going to be close, but I think that second nuke will land, unfortunately, here for Maverick. Colossus is going to go down as well. That's going to provide a decent amount of mass here for XXXXXXX. And just look at the devoid map. You know, that's what happens when you play a 5v5 game and 80% of the players are dead by 27 minutes. Strat bombers are inbound. Moving in. Going after that SMD, I would assume. Does he know the location of it? SMD is the target. He's actually going to go after Maverick's commander, but will miss. He will grab that SMD, though, and that will cement that nuke launching and landing. Unfortunately, yeah, he was going for it. That is dead in the water. Maverick, that's got to hurt. Needs to build another one. We'll go after the air grid over here to the east. Get a nice little AoE, kills everything off except a couple of T3 air facilities, and that's going to really curtail any sort of air fighting back that Maverick can do. Stuff being talked about in chat. And that nuke will launch. It has been loaded. And there's insults being thrown at one another. Don't really encourage that kind of insult being thrown at one another. I kind of care more about the giving you a hard time kind of thing rather than outright insults. That's not that great. He's actually not even going after Maverick. He's going after the T3 Mechs over here. So he's really just going to extend this game a little bit. I'm just going to speed it up to 3. Just because, again, we can see where the game is going. Once I think Maverick lost this, lost the air grid, lost not necessarily this base, but this base in particular. That's it. Kaboom! Takes everything else out. Drops his mass income quite significantly down to 380. And more strat bombers running around the map. What are they targeting now? Just anything, I think, at this point. And Maverick tries to move out of the way. Tries to build more Colossus to try to at least stem the tide or the bleeding of the land engagement that's occurring down here. Lots of Percys, of course, bricks, mobile missile launchers, and AA. Another Colossus over here as well, being targeted by some Ravagers. That's not going to make it very far, unfortunately. There he goes. Killed off by Ravagers with some assisting Revenant T3 strategic bombers. How's that nuke loading? It is more than half done. 116,000 mass. And we see some Restorers trying to stem the bleeding. We see some the bricks and Percys moving in. Colossus actually going to go around, or actually just wait for those units to move north and take them from behind, or from the side, I guess, at this point. But Maverick is going to be assaulted by some strat bombers. Won't die. He had the shield on board, so it actually essentially saved his life. Strat bombers turn back around to launch another volley, take out the shield, and the rest of those strat bombers have. Actually, there's one remaining. Nuke will land on top of Maverick's commander. 47 minutes on the clock. Will strike Maverick's commander. Won't kill him. He's sitting at 21,000 hit points, of course, plus the shield that's now currently regenerating. And he's just loading that nuke. That's all he's doing, just loading it as much as he can. More strat bombers being built, more Percys, more bricks running around. Colossus being curtailed once again. That wall section proving very annoying for that Colossus to deal with. Boom! That is taken out. And Maverick is now just booking it out of dodge. 48 minutes on the clock. Strat bombers are inbound, going after Maverick's commander, dropping him into the yellow. I think another pass or two might be it. Maverick control Ks, and 6X wins the game. He will get MVP, last surviving player on Team 2, and of course Team 2 won. So, like I said, that was kind of going to be the default. I did love the play from Red down in the south. I thought that was a very great opening play. He sacrificed himself, but he was able to essentially balance his own hit points with 2 opponents' hit points. He's like, once he saw that Just Q was below 5K, essentially, nice little 47 or 46 or whatever it was. He control K'd, killing off, obviously, Joom Dragoon, which triggered the effect of also killing off Team 2's Just Q as well. So again, 3 comms died, one after the other, and then another set of comms died over here in the west. And again, it was just a land game for most of it, and then air came in and finished it off. The nuke definitely was the play that won 6X the game. He took out the Novaxes that were being built, then he took out the SMD, obviously beforehand, but it would have been killed anyways. Killed off the rest of Team 1's or Maverick's mass income, at least a decent chunk of it, and then that was it. Well, let me know down in the comments who you thought deserves MVP. In general, obviously, a lot of the match was just a 1v1, but there are some, obviously, candidates for MVPs, not necessarily on the winning team. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching. And share this video with anyone, everyone, and especially your pets. And I will see all of you in the next one.